Hello, scrappers, recyclers, and investors. Welcome to Shark Scrapper Live, where we're talking about things going on in the precious metals industry, industrial metal industry, and stocks that are somehow related to what we do with scrapping and recycling. It is great to be back. I tell you what, I missed being up here last week, but boy, howdy, was it worthwhile what I went and did. And I will share that with you later on in this live stream. Scrapping Irish, see you scrapping Bush Dog. Welcome to the show. Great to see y'all here. I got a chuckle out of See You Scrapping talking about his OCD being negatively affected by the lack of normal streams on Sunday and then a new stream on Sunday. And it's 2 Sundays in a row with the Monday holiday here in the United States. So yeah, I get it. I understand, man. I was like, I was weirded out the whole time. So, but at least I had the advantage of I'm the one that caused the problem, right? So, John Butler, welcome to the show, man. Great to have you here. So we are going to get right into it. I hope everybody had a great week, 2 weeks, I guess, now since we last chatted. I tell you what, though, this has been a weird May for me between my trip up to Western Maryland and Pennsylvania and the holiday that's coming up and just the timing of the weekends and stuff. I'm going to be hard pressed to make my numbers this month. Man, I'm like right on the edge. I'm going to have to hustle like a big dog here in these last couple days of the month to try to make the numbers work. Khalid, welcome. Great to have you here. All right. Well, look, let's just get right into it with gold because that's what we're here to do, right? Talk about metal and stuff. So we're going to get over here and talk about gold. Right now, gold's at 1,959.90, and we can see for the week that it's down. Let's take a look here at the 24-hour point. At the 24-hour, it is up just a little bit. You can see that we had a bit of catch up going on here late in the period. That's one of the things about this world that we live in right now. Nothing ever seems to sleep, does it? Harold, welcome. Great to have you here. Scorpion Metals, great to have you here. Oh man, your service is not behaving. Sorry to hear that. All right, so if we look at the 3-day on gold, so we look at the 3-day on gold and we see that it's up for the 3-day, but it had gone. We see that it had gone down because last time we were talking, we were over 2,000 and now we're down at 1959. So it looks like it's trying to pick up again. Hey, Mike, great to see you there, man. If we look at the week, we can see that, gold was down for the week here. And, you kind of scratch your head about this because you're thinking with everything that's going on here in the U.S. with the debt ceiling and the talk about what's going to happen to the economy, you would have thought that gold would have just been screaming, right? Well, everything that I've been able to come up with is basically suggesting 2 things. One, that most of the major investors, the folks that would be buying up a lot of gold, are confident that the U.S. leadership is going to raise the debt ceiling and Armageddon is not going to play out. They also are looking at what's going on with the various inflation numbers that come in that the Fed uses to decide what's going to happen with interest rates. And looks like we're going to have another, people are talking about another interest rate rise, maybe quarter basis point. And so they're thinking, all right, so dollar's going to be strong, so I don't really need to go into gold the way I would otherwise have to go into gold. So I think that's what's playing out here with why we've seen gold dropping off. Of course, I want to know what you all have been hearing over the week and what your thoughts are on this as well. I think that we can all agree that long-term gold is a good play. If we look at the 3-month, we can see that gold, it's up 1%. not a big deal. If we look at the year, gold is up 4.7%. And if we look at the 5-year, gold is up 50%. So, gold has got this new sort of peak. Let's see, let's get this peak, and we're going to touch that peak, and we're going to touch that peak. So gold has been, touching that $2,000 peak here for, quite a while now, since 2020. And so, I think that if you are one of these folks that is, wants to buy, you can say, all right, anytime the gold is below or reasonably well below 2,000, I should probably buy some gold because it's going to pop up above 2,000. If you really want to play the game, then, you buy it when it's down here in the low to mid 1900s, sell it when it pops back up again. Depending upon what you pay for the premium, you could be making some small change there. Or you could hold it for the long run. So, speaking of that, for those of you that do buy physical gold, are you playing the long game? You buy the gold and you hold it as wealth preservation, or are you buying and selling, trading in physical gold, trying to make some cha-ching out of it as it goes through these fluctuations? When it comes to investing, and I treat gold as part of my investment, I'm a buy and hold kind of person. So for me, gold and silver are more about wealth preservation, just, having a little hedge against inflation out there. So I tend to buy and hold. Now, I have sold my silver, man. When silver was up above, right around $50 several years back, man, I sold half my silver, paid for my entire investment, and it's been making money for me ever since. So, Electronic Scrapper, welcome to the show. Great to have you here, man. So, I'm really curious what you all are thinking about. When you buy gold, are you buying physical gold, and what are you buying it for? Buy and hold, or are you playing some trading and speculation games in there? By the way, and I think you all get this, I've even mentioned it before. I would never, under any circumstance, would I ever buy paper precious metal products, paper gold. That's a certificate that says that someone is holding the gold for you. I've read some reports where there's this huge number of certificates, way more certificates out there than there is actual physical gold in banks and reserves to back it up, so that if you ever wanted to then go and get the gold, you wouldn't be able to, because there just literally isn't enough gold bars and things to be able to turn those certificates in. So the whole paper gold thing, to me, is a huge scam. It's like right up there with Bitcoin as far as huge scam. So, oh man, I said that out loud, didn't I? Well, anyway, now you know what my thoughts are on Bitcoin. All right. So the next, our normal next phase here is our safety note. And I am dedicating this safety note to my good friend, Roger, CU Scrapping. So I received this letter, this package, while I was gone this week. And I have to tell you, this was, to me, this was some, this is really important. This has to be shared because not only is it an important scientific discovery for me, but it's also an important safety note for those of you that live in the Midwest. All right. So the other day, while Roger was out visiting a relative at their farm, he picked up a shark tooth from a little known species of shark that apparently only shows up in the fall out in the Midwest. I guess they hide, or they go away during the other seasons, or they're not as prevalent, but in the fall, they apparently are extremely prevalent. And this is important for those of you that are out there, as a safety note. So the shark species is Selachiophora jondirus. And this shark tooth was found by Roger, and he sent it to me. I tell you, that is one nasty shark tooth. Man, I thought Megs and great whites had some serious shark teeth, but boy, howdy, I would not want to get bit by the shark that this came out of. That would be rough. So Roger, I really appreciate you sending that along. I am going to put that up with the rest of my shark teeth, and I'm going to do some more research on Selachiophora jondirus so that I can have a better understanding of our friend there. Now, I'm not seeing any comments here. Hang on a second. I'm a little bit concerned that something's going on with the feed. Oh, there we go. There we go. It just jumped. That was weird. So I did. It was weird. It was like my comments had locked up for a while, and I didn't see anything, and then all of a sudden it jumped. So, all right, we're good. We're good to go. Thought I was having a technical problem there. All right, so Roger, thank you. I'm really glad you sent that to me, and we have some more shark news a little bit later on to talk about. That's also going to be really interesting, I think. All right, so next up, aluminium. What is going on with aluminium or aluminum or aluminum? Hey, Scorpion Metals, yeah, don't worry about it, man. Sometimes signals are hard. So great having you here for a while, and take care. If you get the signal back, come on in. All right, so aluminum. We're taking a look at what's going on with aluminum, and I've got some interesting stuff that I've been reading about aluminum here. But we can see that aluminum kind of climbed a little bit in a 24-hour report. Again, these are Kitco's historical charts. Both APMEX and Kitco, good places to buy and sell your physical gold and silver. I'm not sponsored by them at all. They're just places that I have used in the past, and I like the information that they share. So if we look at the 30-day aluminum spot price, though, we can see that aluminum spot is definitely down, right? But it kind of stabilized here, halfway through the month, and it's kind of, just sort of hanging out there. And what in the world was that? That's not what I wanted. I wanted that. There we go. So we can see here that aluminum was relatively flat for a while. This is on the 60-day. And then roughly a month ago, it had a steep drop and flattened out. Now, these numbers are not huge, right? It went from $1.20 down to $1. So it dropped nearly 20 cents a pound. And if we look at the 6 month, we can see here's that drop. And we're down from $1.30. So I bet you this explains why we've been seeing aluminum prices dropping at the scrap yards. And then here we see the 1 year aluminum. It was pretty strong, but it's dropped off. And the price keeps going down here for aluminum. It keeps dropping off. And I got to tell you, this is kind of weird that the aluminum prices are dropping. But I like to look at what's going on with the warehouse stocks as well. So, we see that the warehouse levels picked up again here. This is the 30-day London Metal Exchange. And we see that the stocks dropped, then they picked up, then they dropped, then they picked up. We've talked about this. We've seen this pattern. And we have seen that every time the inventory level comes up, it's coming up a little bit more. So in the 60-day, you see they recovered the inventory, and then here, look, recovered the inventory a bit. Then the inventory dropped off a bit. Then it picked up again. And if you look at this peak to this peak, you can see that every time the inventory levels start to pick up, they go a little bit higher. There's a little bit more inventory. Hey, JCT, welcome. Great to have you here, man. And if we look at the 6 month here, we see that's the pattern we were just looking at, the 3 month. And you can see that, we're starting to, oops, wrong one. So you can see that the inventory levels are starting to pick up again. And let's just go right down here to the 5-year. So if we look at the 5-year inventory levels, we had this huge drop, and now it's starting to pick up. And if you look at here, you see the base of the inventory levels are below the peaks. And so what's happening is they are, as aluminum is getting consumed, it's also getting restocked. So they're pushing more aluminum into the warehouses than is being used. And so we see this overall trend of the aluminum stock levels picking up again. So that means that the aluminum prices will continue to come down. But it's not all bad news out there, because as I was researching aluminum here this week in preparation for this show, I came across a couple of really interesting articles, and they were talking about the demand for low carbon aluminum. Now, we all know that making aluminum is very energy intensive, and with the automobile industry in particular shifting to aluminum. Hey, wannabe scrapper, great to have you here. As more automobile companies start using more and more aluminum to reduce the weight of the cars, there's the push to go to low carbon aluminum. So that's aluminium. La for Sheffield. Aluminium. Or alley, as some people like to just say, right? Anyway, so there's a drive to try to use more low carbon aluminum, or aluminum that has been manufactured so that there's less of a carbon footprint associated with the aluminum. And I came up with some interesting articles where they were talking about how the low carbon aluminum market is projected to reach about $119 billion by 2031. Now, for reference, right now it's about $82 billion industry. Hey, Paul, great to have you here, man. Awesome to see you. So that is what they call a CAGR, or a compounded annual growth rate of 4+%. So if you take the 82 million at the bottom and you take the 119 billion at the top, what would the compound interest have to be to get those points to connect? And it's roughly about 4%. So what that's saying is that the industry experts believe that low carbon aluminum is going to be a demand signal, and we should see the market for it increase by about 4% going forward. They also say that low carbon cannot meet the demand for aluminum products. So what does that mean for us as recyclers? Well, recycling aluminum has the potential to be a lower carbon alternative or piece of the pie. So I think that we're, as the aluminum stocks continue to grow, and the prices will be somewhat offset, because there'll be a demand for recycled aluminum so that they can meet more of the low carbon aluminum mandates and requirements and desires. This is Shark Scrapper going really out on a limb here because I don't have any kind of data or study that I can refer to. This is just I'm sitting here scratching my head and I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, if virgin low carbon aluminum can't keep up with the demand, and recycled aluminum you can recycle aluminum using less carbon footprint than is required to make virgin aluminum, then yeah, that should mean the aluminum recycling market or scrap market would be beneficial for us. That's my game. That's what I'm arguing. Now, what does that mean? Well, for me, it doesn't really mean a whole lot because I'm going to keep selling my aluminum. It tells me that aluminum is unlike copper, where we're pretty sure we're going to see some good price hikes in copper moving forward. And so a lot of us are holding our copper and not selling it all right away. Aluminum, I take aluminum in it. Aluminum. That one came out harder than it intended to. Hey, Rafael, great to see you, man. So I take my aluminum in every week, at least something. Sometimes it's just my cast, sometimes it's my sheet, but I'm taking aluminum into my non-ferrous yard every week. Yeah, I'll be getting less here, but it'll pick back up again. So what have you been seeing for aluminum at your yards? Are you seeing the prices coming down? Are you seeing the prices be somewhat stable? Where are your yards at for aluminum prices? And what's your plan for aluminum? Are any of you stockpiling your aluminum like a lot of us are with copper, or are y'all just selling your aluminum? Hey, Rafael, you came in afterwards, so you missed this very important safety note. If you ever come out here to the United States and visit the Midwest, you have to be careful of the shark that this tooth came out of. Our friend Roger at CU Scrapping sent this to me. This is from Selachimorphia jondiris. It's very prevalent in the Midwest. So, Rafael, Irish, all of our European friends, any of our international friends, if you come out to the U.S. and visit the Midwest, be very careful in the fall that you don't get bit by one of these sharks. Okay, so let's see. Scrap It All says his aluminum is stable at 25 cents a pound. Roger said dropped 10 cents a couple weeks ago to 40 cents a pound. Scrapping Irish says he's keeping all of his aluminum. Wait a minute, Irish, I thought isn't that one of the things that that you give to Pop Scrap to the trades that you all do? And Wannabe Scrapper says, oh, make a necklace out of this. Oh man, I don't know, that could cut me swinging around down there. I don't know. Those teeth are pretty sharp, man. They got some jagged edges on there. So yeah, and so my aluminum went down a little bit as well. So of course, a lot of it also depends on your yard's ability to sell the aluminum. So if your yard is somewhere near a plant where they are melting and recycling the aluminum, they're probably going to do better than if they're very far away and they have to ship it, because then they have the transportation costs that eat into what they can afford. So, all right. Now, the reason that I was gone last week, and I tell you, this was just such an amazing thing for me. My dad, and I've got to brag on my dad here a little bit. Okay, sorry, but my dad, 94 years old, he still works for the state of Maryland Department of Natural Resources. He has been doing everything from reviewing permits for power plants, but primarily what he's been focused on is dealing with the old coal mines in Western Maryland and how to reduce the amount of acid runoff that is seeping into the streams and rivers and basically killing the natural wildlife. The streams and rivers are beautiful, they're pristine, they're crystal clear. Nothing's living in them because they've been acidified. And so he's been on this project now. He's been working with the Frostburg State. They're part of the University of Maryland system. They've been working at it for about 25 years, mapping out all the mines, testing how to backfill the mines. They've come up with a way to use the ash from the coal plants. So the coal mines, the coal got burned, the ash collected up, and the ash can actually be used to make cement. And it's so hard that they can backfill the mines and it seals off the acid runoff. But also all of that, that can then be used in regular cement too, which can help to lower the cost of concrete and help with the, the building industry. So turning a waste product into a useful commodity. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you all real quick. This is just a very short clip. Hopefully you can hear it too.
Therefore, Mr. Paul Hedger conferred on you the degree Doctor of Science, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereof. Congratulations. Well done.
So yeah, that was my dad. I tell you, 94 years old, and he still marched in, with all of the professors and ahead of all the students, and just did, and then gave gave a little speech. And I mean, it was fantastic. And I was really amazed because you got this auditorium is full of young people and their families, and everybody's all excited, but it was deathly silent while my dad was giving his little spiel about the importance of, using the knowledge that you acquire during your college education for good, and especially the students that have worked with him in these projects to help the environment. He named these students that came from the university that were part of helping to solve some of these challenges. And he got a standing ovation when he got finished. So, just amazing to see that happen. And then after the ceremony, we went to my dad's lab, and we got to see everything that he'd been working on. So just really fascinating time. And I got to brag on my dad a little bit, right? So, and 94 years old, man, I tell you what, I really hope that I got some of those genes from my dad, because, I love working, and I think I got it from my dad. And, he's 94 years old and he's still at it full time. So, boy, I sure hope I got that. Now, clearly I didn't get the bald genes because I still got way too much hair back here. In fact, that was a lot of fun too, because my brother was there, and my brother is bald like my dad. And so they were giving me a hard time, and I said, hey, look, somebody's got to represent, right? Between all three of us, I got to make up for two other bald heads. Oh man. All right. So let's get on to our stock picks for the week. This is a really weird issue here. This issue of Value Line Survey, you all know that I use this because they no advertising. It's all data and unbiased analysis of the data. This week they were analyzing the air transportation industry, the trucking industry, the maritime, railroad, restaurant, industrial services, environmental industry, investment companies, and the information services. You would think from all of this, right, there would be the environmental industry. You'd think that some of these environmental companies would be of interest to us. Not a single one of them. Not a single one of them has either passed my test for consideration, much less have some decent interest returns, dividend returns for us to think about. So I got to thinking, all right, from this list, who can we talk about? And like restaurant industry. I mean, come on, we love to eat, right? I mean, if it's one thing scrappers can know how to do, it's eat and drink coffee and stuff like that, right? So we're going to start this discussion out by looking at Cracker Barrel. Now, for those of you that are in the United States, you know this name. You've seen them off of every major highway driving around. That's their shtick, right? That's their thing. They set up shop off of the highways. You walk into this restaurant, and the first thing you walk into looks like an old-time country store. And they've got some of the old knickknacks and some of the old candies and the snacks. And, it's like going back to a bit of our childhood, old Americana kind of thing. And hey, Andrew, welcome from New Zealand. Great to have you here, man. Awesome. Then you go to the restaurant, and it's basically comfort food. And the idea is people traveling the highways and byways, you can get a good filling meal so that whoever's driving can fall asleep on the highway. But they bring you a big pot of coffee, right? So anyway, Cracker Barrel, very, very well-known restaurant here in the United States. Their yield, so let's start talking particulars now. So their yield is 5.1%. So that really gets my attention. Now it's a little bit expensive at just over $100 a share, but that's not terrible. That's not terrible. They are not qualified for cash flow per share or earnings per share. And look at this, they're not qualified for dividends because they got 3 hits here. What's going on with that? Well, here's what that looks like right here. And we can understand what happened here, right? COVID comes along, nobody's traveling, no one's out on the highways. The restaurants are closed down. And so they take this huge hit here. So, oops, do this. So they take this huge hit here for their earnings and their cash flow. And then, of course, what follows is the dividend yield has to fall off as well. So they pushed, and this is interesting because they did the same thing with their inventories. As soon as they could reopen the stores, they started hiring staff. They paid them a lot more to come back to work. They started stocking up their inventory for the stores. And, it's paid off because you can see that business is rebounding, but they may have pushed their dividends a little too high, too fast because they've been flat here for dividends now for a couple of years, but they're at 5.1%. So, it's hard to argue with that. All right. So, they were doing pretty good before COVID, and they were on the list, have been on my list for a while because they used to just be a Div 1. COVID really hurt them out here. They're going to recover from that. So I'm talking about this with you as a potential investment because they really were on the list for a while. And, you might want to think about this one. Plus, they've got a good dividend yield, and they've historically had a good dividend yield. So this one's got some potential, even though they're not qualified. All right, now the other one, this should be no surprise to y'all. Hey, Earl, great to have you here, bud. So McDonald's. I mean, come on, who doesn't know McDonald's, right? It is, whether you like McDonald's or not, this is like when we talk about Coke versus Pepsi. This isn't about, do you like McDonald's as a place to eat? This is about looking at McDonald's as an investment. So their yield is about 2%, and that's pretty consistent for them. That's on $296.97. Whoa, that's pretty steep, okay? Man, I don't know, man. That one's hard, but they are qualified, right? So 17 years of increasing dividends per year. It hasn't been great at 2%, but their value has also been going up as well. So, McDonald's is a pretty good company to invest in, whether you like to eat there or not. You can see here, where's my, here we are. You can see that cash flow and earnings per share are all going up. So, McDonald's is making money. They're going to keep making money. There's a little bit going on right now where people are saying, hey, McDonald's, you're getting a little expensive. So they're going to have to be careful with pricing and stuff. But if you are looking for a restaurant stock to diversify your portfolio and you want to keep it really safe, McDonald's is a good option to consider. Now, about the only thing that scrappers love more than gold is coffee. So here's Starbucks. And, you're probably saying to yourself, well, wait a minute. You can see right over here that Starbucks is not qualified because they had these two flat years here. But that's going to work its way out of the, just like food through a snake. They weren't paying dividends for a while. And then they, when they started paying their dividends, as you can see here, when they started paying their dividends, they have increased every year since they started paying out dividends. So that's a good thing. Their yield is about 2%, and that's on $107 a share. So it's a little less, it's a little harder pill to swallow. It's a little less, so an easier pill to swallow than McDonald's, right? And I put up all the legacy of their logo here because apparently they had some issues with their logo. People getting upset about the mermaid's boobies or something. I don't know. If we look at Starbucks, we can see that just like all the other restaurants, they took a hit during COVID, but they kept their dividends. So they were taking a long view. They saw past COVID. They kept their dividends increasing every year and moving it along. And as a company, they've been making money. So Starbucks is also one of those companies that probably want to give some consideration to. Excuse me. Laufer, you can use cash. Yeah, I use cash all the time at Starbucks. But one of the things that I really like is, for some reason, people send me Starbucks cards and stuff like that. So it's like I've got 3 or 4 of the the Starbucks gift cards in the Sharkmobile that I can, when I need to, pull in there and get a coffee. One of my favorites is a latte. I love getting the lattes there. I don't normally drink a latte at home, but if I'm out on the road, yeah, I'll get myself a latte. It's kind of weird. Cracker Barrel, McDonald's, Starbucks, those are some, good potentials to look at if you are looking to add restaurants to your stock portfolio. Now, the dividends aren't great, right? But they're there, there's something there. And you also need to think about, because I'm a buy and hold investor, yes, I want the dividends, but eventually I'm going to sell these stocks. And so I want to see the value of the stock going up too, so that when I sell the stock, I'm going to make a bunch of money on the other end as well. All right. So I'm wondering what you all think. Are you, do any of you have any restaurant stocks? Have you thought about any of these 3 companies? By the way, I should, just for the sake of transparency here, I used to own McDonald's stock. I sold it a while back. I'm probably not going to be getting back into it at this price point here. But I might get back into Starbucks because I used to own Starbucks as well. I might be getting back into Starbucks, but right now I don't have any restaurant stocks in my portfolio. Let's see. Homemaker's Reluctant Odyssey. Great to have you here. I make Starbucks at home, so I own some of their stock. Very cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's a great way to do it. Oops, not that one. This one. I have frequently joked about with Coca-Cola, because I do own Coca-Cola stock. I like to say that every time I buy a Coke, I'm paying myself. The same. That's I probably ought to do the same with McDonald's, right? So that when I go to McDonald's, I'm paying myself. But yeah, they're kind of steep. All right, so let's see. The problem with stocks in a particular company. What if they go? All right, I don't that kind of stuff. It's not. I'm going to keep the politics out of this, and I'm going to address the issue of owning a particular stock. You're taking the risk that the management of the stock can make some sort of mistake and cost you money. So that's one of the reasons. In fact, that's the primary reason why I do the analysis that I do, which is 17 years of increasing cash flow per share, 17 years of earnings per share, 17 years of dividends per share. I want to see a company have 17 years increasing every year. I will allow a down year or a flat year, but for me, I want to see 17 years of that corporate leadership making good, strong decisions. And if any of these three criteria are increasing for 17 years in a row, that tells you that there's some good longevity to those decisions. Now, any company can screw up and make a mistake and do something stupid. And then it's a question of, does the company recognize that decision didn't go right with their customers and then make adjustments? It's a tough call when you're buying individual stocks. And that's why there's a lot of people that say that you should just buy a market indice. Don't buy an individual company stock, buy a market indice. I don't do that because a lot of the market tracking indices and ETFs and stuff, the algorithm can screw up as much as anything else, and the algorithm can misfire, and that can cause you problems. So when I do make an investment, what I do is this analysis. So I'll do this analysis on any of the companies that I'm going to consider putting my money into, and then I will try to diversify across a number of industries so that I have good confidence in the dividend stream continuing for the long term. Now, there's traders out there, and I don't, traders, day traders and short-term investors that they will buy and sell stocks, bang, bang, bang. And what they're looking for is the fluctuation, is the stocks going up and down and up and down, because, what they'll play the game of buy a bunch of stock when it's low, expecting it's going to come up and then they can make some money on it. That's not my gig. I'm not into that. I don't have enough time to devote to it. I'm not going to take the time to learn the technical trading skills and things that are necessary to play those kind of games. For me, it's about buying companies that have a good long-term track record, especially at paying consistent dividends, consistently increasing dividends, so that I'm always getting some money back from them. The other thing I want to talk about, I promised we were going to talk about sharks again. So I also received some word from Dr. Hammerschlag, you all may recall Dr. Hammerschlag. He was the principal researcher at the University of Miami when we were sponsoring shark tagging with the University of Miami. He has gone off and started his own shark research institute. And he informed me this week that the nonprofit side of the organization has been created. So we now have the nonprofit legal entity in place, plus the for-profit side of the entity, Atlantic Shark Expeditions, in place. We will be making our donation for a shark tag, and we hopefully will get that on one of these guys. So you can just imagine this guy with a little tag hanging off of, or gal with a little tag hanging off his back there. But the other really cool thing, now for those of you that are kind of new to the channel, I don't know if you know it or not, but I take a portion of the money that I make from the business, and I set it aside to donate to shark research. That's the other part of our name, Shark Scrapper, right? So plus, if anybody wants to donate, they can always send me money and just tell me it's for the shark research, and I set it aside for the donations. And a portion of the money that I get from my Patreon channel, so my patrons, also goes towards supporting the shark research. And Dr. Hammerschlag, in his email to me, he was wanting to know if I thought that some of you would be interested in maybe doing a dedicated, shark scrapper tagging event to go out and tag some great whites. He's thinking maybe October, because we want to have enough lead time to put it together. Plus, that apparently is a good time to be tagging great white sharks off the coast of Nova Scotia, at least from the sharks' perspective, because they're there. I don't know about the weather perspective off Nova Scotia. I have to do some looking at that. But I wanted to get this out to y'all. I don't have any particulars on it yet. Thought I would let you all sort of chew on that for a while, see if anybody is interested in, maybe putting together a little shark scrapper expedition to go out and tag great white shark with Dr. Hammerschlag, actually see our donations get put to work. You may recall that I went out with the University of Miami, I guess about a year or so ago, and with a shark tagging event with them. And then I was actually out with the people that have become part of Atlantic Shark Expeditions on a snorkeling trip off Jupiter, Florida, snorkeling with sharks, which is also a really interesting experience. So let me all know what you all think. If you would be interested in perhaps doing a little, putting something together. I don't know how many people we'd have to have. I don't know what the cost would be. I don't have any of those kind of details at this point. But I'd just be curious how many of you might be interested in doing something like that. At some point, I will probably go out with Dr. Hammerschlag, whether it's with a shark scrapper group or on my own, just because I'm fascinated by this. Mrs. Shark has told me I'm going to have to increase my life insurance if I'm planning on getting in the water with the great whites, whether I'm in a cage or not. She's pretty adamant about, the life insurance is going to have to be more than compensatory. So we're going to see about how that's going to play out. I'm not quite sure just yet. But the other thing is, even if you don't want to go on the great white expedition, if you are at all interested in shark expeditions, they have multiple expeditions that you can go on. Jupiter, Florida, this one, I believe, is the one that I went on. You're snorkeling. You don't have to be scuba qualified. You don't even have to get in the water if you don't want to, but trust me, it's very safe. So you've got the Jupiter, Florida snorkeling expedition. You've got the diving expedition where you're going to be on scuba, so you'll need to be scuba qualified. And then with the Great White Expedition, my understanding is that this is going to be a mix. There'll be divers, there'll be non-divers, folks that'll be up in the boat, maybe just sticking your GoPro underwater when the shark comes by and hope that he doesn't eat it. So multiple expeditions, and we will also be supporting the research that's going to go on, trying to understand and learn more about this great white hotspot that is developed off the coast of Canada, off Nova Scotia. Pretty fascinating work. I'm really looking forward to it. Also, if you are, just interested in, getting some shark kind of stuff, here's stuff you can buy from them that helps to support the work that they're doing. So Atlantic Shark Expeditions, and we will talk more about this as I get more information. I just wanted to throw it out there real quick so that you all could have a chance to chew on this, and let me know if anybody is interested in perhaps getting in the water. No, not get, well, yeah, if you want to get in the water, we got to use some bait to pull in the sharks, don't we? So let me know if you're interested in perhaps joining the Great White Expedition in October sometime. And of course, this is going to go on for, every year. So if we don't get it together this year, we can try to put something together for maybe next year or something like that. All right. So I don't know how many of you are crazy enough to think about getting in the water with sharks like I have been. It was a fascinating experience. I mean, they're such amazing creatures. And it's like, before I understood sharks, I used to be, I would get in the water scuba diving and I would be afraid of, if I saw a shark. Then as I got to see them and I got more comfortable with them and I started studying them, I got to the point where I was hoping we would see sharks when I was diving, because I just found them so fascinating. And I came to understand how to get a feel for them and how to know, this one is not in a good mood. It's probably time to move on, as opposed to, we're okay with these guys. So I just, you all know I love sharks. And Roger, we should probably talk, because I need to know if we need to put something together on an expedition to go document Selachimorphia jondirus, because I don't know how much research has been done on this shark, and I think this is a serious flaw in the scientific knowledge that we need to further investigate. So it is great to be back. I tell you what, I had a really good time. Irish, you should go ahead and get set up, man, because I am about ready to wrap here. So Irish, go ahead and get your live stream set up so that I can send people over to you. If you have autoplay enabled, then what will happen is when I end this broadcast, you will be automatically taken over to Scrapping Irish's live stream, where we can continue to talk about things related to what we do. If you do not have autoplay enabled, I don't know if you get a link or if it just ends or what goes on. But, if you do not have autoplay enabled, please go ahead and come on over to Scrapping Irish's live stream. We look forward to having you over there as fun. That's a bit more free flowing. He brings people up and, we have a more free flowing discussion over there. And I look forward to seeing everybody over there. So I am going to get ready to wrap here. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. We got a comment here from Roger. What's he saying? I think we should gold plate that or copper plate it and give our tag shark a unique. Oh, man. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Hey, electronic scrapper, can you I know you do a reverse electroplating where you're trying to get the gold off of things. Can you like switch the polarity and then we could like put gold or copper on this thing? You know, that could be pretty cool. Yeah. Shark with a grill, man. Wouldn't that be something? Oh man, that's funny. All right, y'all. I will see you over on Scrapping Irish's live stream. It is great to be back. And man, I had so much fun last week with my dad, and I missed y'all, but it was really important that I be with my dad. We'll see you over on Scrapping Irish's live stream.